If you're running your business and have a website on Wix, it's very likely you're going to be doing one of these 7 mistakes that I'm going to talk about in this video, and it's costing you customers. So I'm going to be walking through all 7. I'm going to show you how you actually find out if you are making that mistake, and then if you are, how to rectify it, which will improve your website's performance and therefore your business's performance. And if you stick around for number 4, because that is the one that most people get wrong. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Joe from the Wix Guys, and we are Wix Legends, which is the highest status you can get as a Wix partner. And all the Wix guys do are fix and build Wix websites. So we know Wix inside and out and have built well over 500 websites by now. So these mistakes I'm going to be running through you aren't guesses. We have seen them time and time again, and I'm going to show you how to fix them. Mistake number 1 is slow load speed. This is a big one on Wix, and you've probably heard before that Wix websites have slow load speeds, and there are some things that Wix themselves have done to counter that and to make it better, but there's some really simple things that you can look at to see if there's some bloat on your website that you can get rid of to speed up your site speed. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is run your website through a site speed checker, such as this one that you see on the screen now. When you run your website through it, it's going to give you a load of vital information, but the main stuff you're looking for are simply the desktop load speed and also the mobile load speed. If either of these look bad, i.e. they're in the red, then you need to do something to counter that. If they're in the green, then that's great, and if they're in the orange, it means it's not overly important to look at right away, but maybe there are some steps that you can do. So how do you combat this? Well, Wix does have a in-app image compressor, meaning that every time you upload an image to your website, Wix will automatically compress it, which will mean it will load quicker. But that only works to a point. If you are uploading massive file sizes such as professional photography or videography, then this compression still might not be enough and still might be affecting your site load speed. So the first step is going to be going through all the photography and videography on your website and seeing if the file size is too large. If it is, you can put it through an online compressor. Just Google image compressor or video compressor, and there's loads of free options, and then you can take that file size right down, and that's going to speed up your website. And the second big thing that we see is how many apps you have loaded on your website that you're not using. If you go into the area where you manage your Wix apps, which you can see on the screen now, you'll see a list of all of the apps that you have on your website. Have a look through, and if there's any that you don't recognize or you're not sure what they're doing, then it might be time to remove them, because they are still being loaded every time someone goes on a website. So the more of these you can remove, the faster your speed is going to be. So there you go, we've gone over mistake 1. Let's go on to mistake number 2, which is not having enough call to actions on your website. A call to action is something on your website which is clearly pointing the user to what you want them to do, such as book a call, book in an inspection, or leave their email address. Lots of people, especially when they're building their own website, forget to add enough of these on their website. You want it so that the user can get in contact and do that call to action at any point they are on the website. So they don't have to scroll back to the top to find it or down to the bottom. There's just a button there and then that they can click and do the action. And this is mostly important above the fold, which is the part of the website that they load into first. So right at the top of the homepage and the header along the top need to have clear call to actions. So as soon as someone lands on the website, they know what actions they can take to go to the next step. You can have multiple call to actions. For example, one section might be asking them to book a call, whereas something else will be asking them to download a template. But try to keep this to a minimum. If you're putting too many different call to actions on your homepage or on the web page that they're on, it can be very confusing for the user. So most of the time, just stick to 1 or maybe 2, but don't go any further than that. Mistake number 3 is that the website is not mobile optimized. While using the Wix Builder, a lot of people make the website desktop first and then just try to fix it and make slight changes on the mobile version, but it actually ends up in a website that is not optimized for mobile. And the users in your industry might actually use mobile first. You can go to the analytics in your Wix dashboard to find out if this is the truth, and you might be surprised that most people are accessing your website from a mobile and you haven't really paid much attention to it. So right now, pick up your phone, go to your website and make sure that it looks as you would expect. And there's no overlapping text or big spaces or anything like that that would be a bad user experience. And if you do find anything like that, go back into into the Wix editor, go to your mobile view and make sure to fix it right away. Mistake number 4 is having a poor SEO setup or sometimes no setup at all. Out of all of the points that we've spoken about so far, this is probably the one that is going to impact your business the most. Even if you have made the perfect, best looking website, if people aren't coming to it, then it's completely pointless existing. The easiest beginner friendly way to make sure that your website is set up for SEO is to use the Wix SEO checklist that is in the background of your Wix site. This takes you through a checklist to make sure that you have done some of the basics when it comes to SEO, like making sure the title tags are correct, making sure your meta titles and descriptions are filled out, and making sure alt text is on all of your images. Now this is a great start for a website and much better than having nothing at all, but there is more that you can do outside of this checklist. First of which is making sure that your website is uploaded to both the Google Search Console and the Bing Webmaster. This means that your most up-to-date version of your website will show up on Google and on Bing, which are the two top search engines at the moment. It's also important for you to have a Google business profile, especially if you're a local based business. This is the profile that pops up when you search for something on Google or on Google Maps, and making sure that it is fully stocked out with all of the information about your business will give more ammo to Google to make sure that they are recommending you over your competitors. It's also really important to make sure that that matches what is shown on your website. So if you have a service list on your website which is different to your Google Business Profile service list, this will confuse Google and it might not trust you enough to send traffic your way. I could talk about this for the entire video, but I'm going to stop there. But make sure to subscribe because there will be a video coming out, and if it already exists, I'll make sure to put it along the top here. Now, mistake number 5 is an outdated or generic design. As you probably know, Wix has lots and lots of templates that you can choose from when you first set up a website, and that is great when you're a beginner and you're starting out, but it does make your design look very similar to lots of other websites out there. And if you built your website 3 or more years ago, it is probably outdated by now. And this can really affect the user experience if you're using outdated fonts, if the design doesn't look up to scratch compared to your competitors, or if the imagery doesn't look or feel like the brand that you're trying to portray. Here's an example of a redesign that we've done. This is their website before we got touching it, and as you can see, it looks out of date. It looks like it was made quite a long time ago. And then this is what we created for them. A much more modern design, more user-friendly and more pleasing on the eye. This is obviously a complete redesign, and as we're professionals, you should hope that we're going to make something better than what they can do on their own. If you are just doing this on your own, just some simple tweaks to the text, the images, the colors, the spacing will make a huge world of difference. And the best thing to do is just go and look at websites that you like online, see how they're doing it, and try to analyze why what they do looks better than what you do. Mistake number 6 is confusing navigation. Now, along the top of most websites, there will be some form of navigation. Sometimes this is along the top and nice and easy to access. Sometimes it's in one of these, which is called a burger menu. But what you often find when people build their own websites on Wix is that the list is too long, so it doesn't fit nicely. And even the drop-down lists as well, there's too many in them and it's not visually pleasing, so the user can easily find where they need to get to. But this isn't the only place where you can help navigation on your website. Putting buttons in relevant sections that will take them to read more about that section is a great way to improve navigation. For example, if you have a section on your homepage which is talking about the business, make sure that there is a button that goes to the About Us page. A good rule of thumb is to have no more than 6 items in the navigation menu along the top. And to make sure that your call to action, i.e. book now or contact us, is more visually obvious than the rest of the menu. And then when it comes to the drop-down menus, you can use what are called mega menus. This breaks it up nicely and you can add design elements to make it more visually appealing. Mistake number 7 is that there is no way to capture leads. You'll be surprised how many times we see this, where there's just no easy way for a user to be able to pass their information across to the business. A lot of people create a contact page with a contact form on it, but that's not easily to navigate to, and that is it across the entire website. Whereas realistically, you want the user to be able to leave their details to get in contact with you at whatever point they are on their journey throughout your website. And especially if you're a business that is taking bookings and taking payments, you don't want to make it hard for the user to be able to book into your class or whatever it is that you're providing. A great way to make sure that at any point in the user journey someone can get in contact with you is by using what we call a website doormat. This is when you see one of those floating bubbles in the bottom right of your website, and then when you click it, someone can ask a question, leave their details, or do whatever action it is you want them to do. This doesn't necessarily need to be a live chat if you don't have the function within your business to be able to do that. It can just be that they click it, they leave their details, and await a response later on when someone is available. But this means that even if they're reading one of your blog posts, if they're looking at the About page or on your services page, right then and there they can easily get in contact with you and show you that they want to be contacted. The worst situation is when someone decides that they do want to get contacted, but they have to make 3 clicks to do it, and they're not really sure where those clicks are. So they just give up, close your website, and go onto a competitor's website. There you go, there are 7 common mistakes that we see when we are helping clients with their Wix websites. If you see any of these mistakes on your own website and you don't want to fix it yourself, feel free down in the description to click across to our website, leave your details, and we can get in contact. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe. We're going to be putting out lots of videos with useful information about the Wix platform to make your experience easier. And of course, we are always here to help if you don't want to be doing it yourself and you want to get some professionals to do it.